They were once Hollywood royalty, faces on every screen, names on everyone's lips, and then, without warning, they vanished. But why? Was it scandal, sabotage, or something even darker? In today's video, we're diving into the lives of 6 stars Hollywood doesn't want you to remember. And trust me, when you find out who's number 3, your jaw will drop. Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell should have been a household name. With his iconic role as Ash Williams in the Evil Dead franchise, he brought charisma, humor, and pure cult energy that lit up the screen. Fans adored him, and his performances had the kind of charm you just don't forget. So why did Hollywood push him to the sidelines? Despite proving his talent, Bruce was labeled as a B-movie actor, a box the industry never let him break out of. While others rode one hit to superstardom, Bruce was overlooked, typecast, and dismissed by mainstream producers. The irony? His fanbase was, and still is, fiercely loyal, spanning generations. He brought more character to horror than many A-listers ever could, but the red carpets rarely welcomed him. Hollywood didn't know what to do with a man who refused to play by their shallow rules. He didn't disappear, he was erased. But for millions of diehard fans, Bruce Campbell is more than a cult hero. He's a legend who deserved the spotlight, not the shadows. Cynthia Rothrock. Cynthia Rothrock wasn't just a martial arts expert, she was a cinematic powerhouse. With black belts in multiple disciplines and explosive on-screen presence, she shattered every stereotype about women in action films. In the 1980s and 90s, she dominated martial arts cinema in Hong Kong, headlining films and taking down villains with unmatched skill. Yet when she returned to the US, Hollywood barely gave her a glance. Why? Because she wasn't the typical leading lady they wanted. She was too tough, too real, too independent. Studios couldn't figure out how to market a woman who didn't need saving, one who did the saving herself. Despite her massive success abroad, Rothrock was cast aside in favor of less talented, more marketable faces. Hollywood erased her from the action legacy she helped build. But for real martial arts fans, she's still the queen, the woman who kicked her way into history and never got the credit she truly deserved. Cynthia didn't disappear. Hollywood just couldn't handle her power. Michael Dudikoff. In the golden age of action films, Michael Dudikoff was poised to become the next big star. With his striking looks, quiet intensity, and martial arts finesse, he exploded onto the scene with American Ninja, a cult classic that turned him into a global sensation. Audiences saw him as the perfect blend of mystery and muscle, a true action hero for the 1980s. But while his peers like Stallone and Van Damme rose to Hollywood royalty, Dudikoff's career took a strange turn. Despite delivering box office hits, he was quietly phased out. Why? Some blame the lack of major studio support. Others say he refused to play Hollywood's political games. He didn't conform, didn't chase the fame machine, and for that, Hollywood erased him. Instead of A-list stardom, he was pushed into straight-to-video projects and eventually faded from the mainstream. But fans never forgot. Michael Dudikoff was a different kind of action star, raw, real, and unforgettable. He deserved more than a quiet exit. He deserved a legacy, and Hollywood denied it. Adrienne Barbeau. Adrienne Barbeau was one of the most electrifying actresses of the 1970s and 80s, earning critical acclaim and starring in iconic films like The Fog and Escape from New York. She had the kind of fierce presence that could outshine any leading man, a rare combination of beauty, strength, and raw talent. But Hollywood wasn't ready for a woman like her. While Barbeau made a name in genre films, she was often reduced to the Scream Queen label, never allowed to break free and show the full depth of her abilities. Despite her success in horror and thriller classics, she was passed over for more traditional leading roles, sidelined by an industry that couldn't see beyond her typecasting. The real tragedy? Adrienne Barbeau didn't disappear. Hollywood erased her, choosing to forget the powerhouse actress who defined a generation of films. But for those who remember her, Adrienne is much more than just a scream queen. She's an icon whose talent deserved so much more than the roles she was handed. Phoebe Cates. Phoebe Cates was a shining star of the 80s, capturing hearts with her unforgettable performances in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins. She was the girl next door with a touch of mystery, effortlessly blending innocence with allure. But after a few major hits, Cates seemed to vanish from the Hollywood spotlight. What happened? Hollywood never truly understood how to harness her unique combination of charm and depth. After becoming a breakout sensation, Cates chose to step away from the limelight, instead prioritizing her family and a quieter life. However, the industry didn't let her leave gracefully, it erased her. While other stars cashed in on their fame, Phoebe was forgotten by an industry that couldn't accept an actress who didn't want to play by their rules. Despite her low profile in the years that followed, Cates' impact on the 80s film scene remains undeniable. She may not have sought fame, but for those who remember, Phoebe Cates will always be a symbol of youthful rebellion and iconic moments on screen. Linnea Quigley. Linnea Quigley was one of the most iconic scream queens of the 80s, known for her roles in horror films like The Return of the Living Dead and Silent Night, Deadly Night. With her striking beauty and ability to play both the victim and the vengeful spirit, she captured the attention of horror fans everywhere. But despite her success in genre films, Hollywood quickly overlooked her once the 80s came to a close. Why? Hollywood couldn't figure out what to do with an actress who thrived in the world of horror, but wasn't ready to be molded into a mainstream star. As the years passed, Linnea was relegated to B-movie status, often starring in films that didn't do justice to her talent. While others like Jamie Lee Curtis found success in broader roles, Linnea was erased from the Hollywood landscape, forgotten by an industry that dismissed her for the very genre that made her a legend. But horror fans will always remember Linnea Quigley, the queen of the scream and a true icon of the genre. Michelle Bauer. Michelle Bauer was one of the most recognizable names in the world of exploitation and B-movies during the 80s and 90s, known for her roles in cult horror films like Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers and Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bolorama. With her captivating presence, sharp wit, and ability to bring a unique energy to every role, Michelle carved out a niche for herself in the world of low-budget, high-octane cinema. However, despite her success in these fan-favorite films, Hollywood largely ignored her. They couldn't see past the titles she was given, and she was reduced to being nothing more than a B-movie queen. As the years passed, she slowly faded from mainstream recognition. But Michelle Bauer never disappeared from the hearts of horror fans who cherished her work. Hollywood erased her, but she left an indelible mark on the genre, proving that true icons don't need validation from the industry to remain legends. For those who remember, Michelle will always be a cult cinema treasure.